Hey guys, it's me, Taj Okonkwo. So if you didn't see any of my previous videos, or if you're new to this channel, it may be news to you that I'm a coder. If you already knew that, then that's cool too. Like I said in a video I made a month ago, I started my coding hobby in 2015 with the website Scratch. Despite the fact that in the video I said that I don't use Scratch anymore, that is not entirely true. Today I'll be going over how I discovered Scratch and how it's become such a big part of my life. Let's begin. The day I discovered the Scratch website was October 8th, 2015 when I was 9 years old. Scratch is a website where people like myself could code by putting blocks together. This can be done to create video games, animations, and many other types of programs. These programs are called projects. On the day that I discovered Scratch, I created an account called Taj52 after my Minecraft username at the time. The first ever project I made with Scratch was called Swimming Spree. It was the game where you can make the mascot of Scratch, the Scratch Cat, perform somersaults and backflips in the water. Later that year and into the following year of 2016, I created some more video game projects, most of which I didn't finish at all. These include, but are not limited to, Super Eater, Super Cat, Taj's Pizzeria, Night Run, and Dusk Run. And the most developed of these games, Tajianism Party. Unfortunately, I unshared all these projects so you won't be able to play them. But that's probably for the best because most of them were garbage. Anyways, in October 2016, things started to change for me. I started to get less interested in making games and more interested in making skits. Now at the time I've made a handful of skit projects such as these ones, but this is when I knew I had discovered my passion on Scratch. The project that started this trend was called Taj Eats at Bob's Big Boy. Now again, this project has been unshared for various reasons, so you won't be able to see it. However, I can explain it to you. Essentially, this project was an animation where the cartoon version of myself visits the burger restaurant Bob's Big Boy. I get to the restaurant and I discover a new item called the pizza burger. I eat it and I live happily ever after. So yeah, that project was pretty successful, at least in my mind. I was so proud of my creation that I decided to make more of these stories on the website. There were a lot of these projects and I don't have the time to go over all of them. I don't even remember which project I made after Taj Eats at Bob's Big Boy. But I very much enjoyed making these projects and looking back at specific ones in the present. All of these projects had weird and absurd stories that came from my unique sense of humor. There's another genre of projects that I made called remix projects. So on Scratch you have the option to take another person's project and add your own ideas to it. This is something I do all the time on Scratch. I would usually do this to feature projects, which are projects on the front page of Scratch. Sometimes I would replace a few of the sprites and text with funnier versions. Or I would simply erase all the sprites and add a single sprite or more than one sprite doing or saying something random. Some of these projects got a lot of views, and others are about as obscure as this YouTube channel. Now remember when I said that I stopped making games on Scratch? Well, that's not entirely true either. In 2018, I made a video game on Scratch called Drinkable Money. This project would be the inspiration for a Unity game that I made by the same name. However, it performed quite modestly and I stopped making updates for it. In December of 2018, something terrible happened. I decided to unshare all of my Scratch projects. This was because some of the projects had copyrighted material. So in order to ease my fear of getting copyright issues, that's what I did. 2019 was the year that I called the Big Pause. It was the project where I wouldn't share any Scratch projects and I would rarely use the website at all. The only time I would ever use Scratch was if I was working on artwork for my new version of Drinkable Money. It also didn't help that I just discovered Unity in late 2018. This made me think, maybe I'm getting too old for Scratch. However, I was soon to realize that was not the case when I returned to Scratch after the new version of Drinkable Money was finished. It was May 9th, 2020, 2 days after I finished Drinkable Money on Unity. I was feeling tired of Unity and the many hours I spent on it every day. I wanted to return to the older days. I wanted to start Scratch again. So I went to one of the featured studios where people could submit projects with a certain topic, and I came across Ice Cream Maker Yay by Scratch user RealBerry Animations. I made a remix project where I made new textures for the game. It felt refreshing for me to finally use Scratch. I eventually unshared that remix project because it was garbage, but still, this would start a new era for me called the Scratch Renaissance. So do you remember all those animated skit projects that I made? Well, they were all part of a series called the Tajianism Show. So since the Tajianism Show hasn't been active for about 1.5 years, I wondered, if I enjoyed making these projects so much, and since I'm now in Scratch, I should restart the Tajianism Show. And that's exactly what I did on June 10th. The project that I made that day was the remake of my original animation, Taj Eats at Bob's Big Boy. However, instead of going to Bob's Big Boy, I go to a made-up restaurant called Taj's Pizza. The project was called Taj Eats at Taj's Pizza with his annoying clone. It got a decent number of views. Now initially I wasn't going to create projects that frequently, but I had no choice. I had to create more of these projects. So I created another one. This next one was made 2 days later and was called Lost in Taj Park. Now admittedly, this project was slightly less successful, but that didn't stop me. I created project after project after project, each one being of higher quality than the ones before it. I learned how to gain more views using studios. It was a great time for me. I still continue to create Scratch projects to this day. I even decided to create more remix projects and make newer versions of old Tajanism show episodes. I created a new series called The Sick Kids Yay that's arguably even more popular than the Tajanism show. Using Scratch has become an amazing hobby for me, and that's why Scratch has become such a big part of my life. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. Make sure to follow my Scratch account, which will be in the link in the description, along with my other social media accounts. And my Discord server will also be in the link in the description. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday. Have a nice day.